So many times we wait until it's a huge problem. And it's like, okay, how are we gonna fix the huge problem? But what's happening up the river and why is this happening in the first place? And let's fix that problem so that it's not this giant problem down the stream.
Can a community be wealthy if it's not first healthy? Or do you need to first be healthy in order to be wealthy? Which comes first?
It's all about respect, honor, and dignity. When they develop regulations, the first thing we tell them is that, the vision of our tribe for this place that you're building, or for this business that you're building, that you show, honor, respect, dignity to all that come here.
I believe our region is honestly a diamond. There's things here that you cannot find or do anywhere else. But what makes that a place you want to go to, a place you want to stay or come back to, are the people.
We have some tremendous remote opportunities to travel and get away and see California from a completely different perspective. I think it's the clean air that we have. I think it's the lake, the mountain. All of those things are key.
Always paying attention to the environment, but we also have to pay attention to the economics and the customs and culture of our community. If our environment's not healthy and we're doing something that's negative, then the dairy doesn't survive. If the community isn't healthy, then we don't really survive.
If we have a sustainable business that's able to rejuvenate its employees, we're going to be able to afford building the business and great employees will come. When we build up our community, we're going to get tourists that come. As we grow, the community will grow.
It's all linked in such a way that when individuals are struggling, the companies they work for are going to struggle, as well as the industries that those companies are in, and then the region. It's all connected in such an important way. We need both health and wealth for either one of them, for them to really be what the community needs them to be.
Why is this so important, this work of addressing the social determinants of health and economic development? We don't start life with the same opportunities. We don't start life with the same exposures. We don't start life with the same options to choose a healthy choice.
When we look at the different dynamics of who lives in our community, we have to look at the children first. Who are they going to be in 20 years? When they become 18 and at voting age, who are they going to be?
Young people, their adulthood is going to be largely influenced by what they are taught to do, what they are allowed to do, and what explained well for them. They're the sorts of folks who are best served by the concept of upstream.
From those earliest ages on, how negative health impacts create these unequal starts to life and then further hold back those opportunities for healthy living and healthy growth. It's what we're exposed to from those earliest ages that influence our opportunities long term. And as we go into school and have education that evolves to income.
That common value that we all have about wanting to see our kids grow up to be happy, healthy human beings and adults.
Our children are our future. They're going to be writing your pension check, or they're going to be making policies on disability and or insurance. Why wouldn't we protect them and give them the best now?
The way that we plan for what a community should look like, what the visioning should look like, is when we look at the children who are in the elementary schools and in the preschools and what the high schoolers are doing and what they want to be. Are those jobs available here? Are those educational classes available here? This is how we keep our knowledge. This is how we keep our education. This is how we keep our wisdom and the respect for where we live at and allow it to flourish and continue it for every generation.
With this virus, everybody, depression, anxiety, hurt, loss of family, loss of homes, loss of jobs. We need to heal. Right now, everything's all about healing.
We struggle every day here, which is what I believe truly makes us have the addiction problems we have. I believe it was 2018. We had one of the highest overdose rates in the state of California. And I believe that addiction problem comes from our environment and our social status.
The way we bridge the gaps in mental health availability and wellness and access to economic success and access to change a poverty mindset. I think it all goes together. Before you can truly build yourself for success or build a plan for success, you have to first address mental wellness.
Most people's main focus is downstream. It's pulling those people out of the water.
When you think about the hundreds of thousands of dollars that are spent in emergency rooms where those people really need to be connected to some kind of social service, oftentimes mental health services.
To me, it's kind of an upstream, downstream thing. Upstream is the schools, and you have these kids and you can see them and you're in their day-to-day life. Well, downstream is the prisons. Why are they ending up in prison?
People struggle physically with their health, emotionally, spiritually. If we're going to talk about health, we have to talk about the whole person.
What we're creating and trying to deal with it downstream while we're dealing with recovery and addiction and intervening later, it's creating a tremendous amount of energy for individuals, for our community together that we could have stopped with a lot more smarts upstream.
How does a community come together to define the environment of that community? To set up an environment where that healthy choice is easier, to be able to make decisions that improve the well-being of not only us as individuals, but our communities as a whole.
If you're going to do an infrastructure project, how will this address some of the things that are part of our cultural challenges? Can you show us that this is going to lift somebody up out of poverty? Can you show us that this project somehow will address things like racial inequality? We would have thought years ago, well, those don't have anything to do with infrastructure, but they do.
In order for us to properly serve our senior community and our community members who have physical limitations, we do have to look at some of the things that are not available to them. If a person in a mobile chair can't get down a dirt road, where is the accessibility?
Really tying together these economic pieces of access and looking at our communities of why and where people are living in an apartment building so close to where someone has a food co-op, but could be a million miles away because there's no public transportation, there's no safe bike route, there's no way to walk there. Instead, what they have in walking distance or biking distance to their house is a liquor store.
When it's let's come together, let's work together, let's figure this out. The wisdom is in the walls and the people around us. Like my dad has said many times through my life, a problem's only an opportunity for success.
Opening up these opportunities for fresh fruits and vegetables actually changes someone's physical health from the earliest years through the end of life.
We get tied up in just being busy trying to survive in business and do what we do. But when those important conversations are being had, we want to be there.
I grew up with the saying, build it and they will come. That pertains to so many aspects in our communities. The community of organisms beneath the soil, if we build those, build the organic matter, all the little critters down there will come. They'll bring life in these pastures for our animals. Because it's a healthy ecosystem and it's building a healthy community.
We realized it was so much more important to focus on the health of what we were growing and the health of the food, which ultimately builds healthier people.
The most important resource that a business has, it's their humans. It's the people that come and they give of their time and their talents and their energy.
Community has no idea. I think they raised me. It's that mentality, and it's that type of pride living here, having those jobs, because you're caring about the people that raised you. It's having that whole family type dynamic as your government. They're part of your family.
If we just change that very ground floor foundation that we all step on every single day when we walk out the door, the idea should be I walk out my door and I say, I love this place, not open the door and say, it's still the same.
What do you desire for your children, your grandchildren, your great-grandchildren? What world do you want them to grow up in? Those are the discussions that we need to have, and we need to do it together.
We're seeing community come together, we're seeing resilience, and that's what makes communities more healthy. That's what makes communities more great. When we can show children Look how we come together in times of crisis. Look how we stand together. I think that the way that the community here really shows their greatness is through resilience and how strong we are for one another on the behalf of one another and how we show up for one another.